another episode of the Plant-Based Jan Adventure Series. It's easy to eat healthy at home. I'm here to show you it can be done on the road too, or off-roading. Hang on for one of Utah's very best roads, in my opinion, the Shafer Trail in Canyonlands. Off-roading and 4x4ing in beautiful Utah is amazing. Off-roading in a national park in Utah is on a whole nother level. Come along as we navigate the Shafer Trail and parts of the White Rim Road. If you're my age, you may remember the blockbuster movie Thelma and Louise. It came out in my 20s. I will show you some shots of that infamous last scene where they, well, if you know the movie, you know. Where in the world is Canyonlands and these roads, the Shafer Trail and the White Rim Road? It's in the United States, in the state of Utah, and it's about 30 miles from the town of Moab, Utah, which is in the southeast quadrant of the state. That's about 250 miles away from Salt Lake City, the big city, and it's also very close to Arches National Park. So that's a real hot spot of recreation right there, Arches National Park and Canyonlands National Park. A couple years ago, we had visited Canyonlands and we went to the most popular, easy to get to viewpoints from the Island in the Sky area. We stopped at all the major features like Mesa Arch and Whale Rock. But on all these overlooks, we kind of got bit with that bug of getting down on those roads and the rivers that you can see from the viewpoints. And like so many others, it's just a hard bug to beat. We love getting off the paved paths and getting out in the 4x4 areas or by boat. Check out my Hells Canyon jet boating video if you're into boating, by the way. All the scenery that we were seeing when we visited Canyonlands that first time was so appealing, and we wanted to get down and get a closer look. So we made plans. We had to come back after doing more research. If you're into national parks, you know that the literature written usually does not include superlatives or glossy, glowing descriptions. It's mostly just the facts. It's the government. So when the National Park Service says, quote, the Shafer Trail is a challenging, unpaved backcountry road for recreational users seeking the experience of a lifetime, unquote, you take note. This trip is hard to describe in words. You've got the confluence of jaw-dropping scenery and the adrenaline rush of challenging dirt roads hanging over cliffs and rivers. I don't expect to do it justice with my filming and commentary. I'll just put that disclaimer out there right now. In fact, the other disclaimer I'll put out there, this video does not include much of me on camera because I was way too nervous to do anything but hang on to the truck and the camera, that's it. I forgot how to talk at certain points going down these trails. We made it! We're parked at the bottom. My thought is that the viewers of this video may fall into two camps. You may be wanting to put it on your bucket list and you just want to see it and you want some more details, so you're watching this video, or you are one of those super lucky Utah natives, or you're experienced with these roads and you just want to come back and watch the scenery. I totally get it. I have a couple of other videos, the Burr Trail and Cathedral Valley Loop, and a lot of the comments are just thank you for taking me back there. Thank you for the great scenery. Love to see it over and over. And I get it. You can never get enough. I understand that now. Right now, we are at the Shafer Canyon Overlook. See that road down there? The 4x4 road that gets you to the Gooseneck Overlook. We're having lunch here, just checking that out because we want to see how many cars are going down it. We do have a permit. The Island in the Sky Visitor Center is right here. We are sitting at the Shafer Canyon Overlook having lunch. Here we are. Right here is the beginning of that road. You'll go up. It's before the visitor center. That curvy little switchback road right there is what we're looking at. And then you go down and you'll come to a Y. You'll take a right, and that's where you would go to the Gooseneck Overlook. If you take the left in that Y, that puts you onto Potash Road, and that goes directly into Moab, which is about a 2.5-hour drive from the top of Shafer Trail all the way down into Moab. When you get to the bottom of Shafer Trail, that's where we really found that the road becomes difficult and a high clearance 4x4 is pretty necessary. A few of you know that I'm from the Pacific Northwest. It's Western Washington State, the area of the United States that's the land of the old growth trees and forests and drippy moss, rain, mountains, waterfalls, inlets, a lot of water here, and it's very green. The Utah landscape to me is so different. It's just as stunning, but it's like the opposite contrast. Everything about it, the colors of coral and red and orange, and the smooth, dry sculpture-like formations, the vast spaces, and it's got the clear, open skies. Sometimes you just want to go someplace that's really different than where you live. Even if where you live is really beautiful, Utah is just unbelievable. On to the Shafer Trail. Drilling down on this map, you can see the switchbacks as lines, and they look so tame on the map. What the map doesn't show you is that it's a 1,500-foot drop down a cliff. We're gonna give it a shot. I've only seen one car in the last 30 minutes. If it's highly trafficked, I don't want to be anywhere near it. So that is one little section of it. So I just wanted to check that out. Some of it is more of just the psychology of it, because you are riding along the edge on those cliffs, but I think it should work out. Here we go from the top. This is actually the widest part of the trail and the smoothest. One of the rules is the uphill vehicles have the right of way. So there's not that many pullouts. There are a few, and there's some wide spots in the road, but you really need to be watching for vehicles coming uphill. Not that you don't have enough to watch for already, but that's just another factor as you navigate down the hill. Just watch for vehicles coming up so you can plan for a pullout or a wide spot in the road to let them by. You really don't want to have to back up one of these trails. We saw it and we did it.
Just photo bomb your picture.
This is the point where I was just standing to view this road to see how actual road down the cliff, that 1,500 feet, is not that bad from a technical standpoint. There's a few dips and rocks and washboards, certainly the hairpin turns, but there's nothing too major. We all wonder what other people think of navigating this trail and their opinions, perspectives, if you're making the decision to go. And online, there's hundreds of reviews from people who have done it successfully and just really enjoyed it. You can tell, I didn't count, but within these hundreds of reviews, probably there are maybe thousands of exclamation points. Everybody's just so jazzed at doing it. Everybody wants you to try it. And when you start navigating down these switchbacks and everything, you'll find that it's a lot more manageable than it appears from up above. The Shafer Trail has a very colorful history. It was first created by Native Americans who wanted to access the resources on the top of the mesa, and then it was used for sheep herders that were moving their flocks to better foraging in the wintertime, and then it was more improved by John Shafer and his family, the Shafer family. They were Mormon pioneer settlers and they used it to move cattle. Then the Atomic Energy Commission improved it and widened the whole trail to move trucks with uranium-bearing loads to Moab for processing. We are at the bottom. We are both in one piece. Many, many thanks to my incredible driver and his skills. And I could kiss the ground, but it wasn't that bad. All right, we made it. We're parked at the bottom. So we just came down those ledges. You can barely see in the camera. It all worked out. Woo! This sign right here is the Y in the road that I was talking about. So if you go to the right, you're going to go to the White Rim Road. That is the big loop around the bottom of the mesa. We did a few miles on both sides. To the left is Potash Road, and that goes into Moab. The road actually gets much worse when it changes to potash down at the bottom after you're done with the switchbacks, after you're down off of the cliff. That's when it gets pretty bad. The high clearance vehicle is a must as you continue on towards the evaporation pools and the potash boat ramp. Then it's easy, then paved all the way back to Moab. The Shafer Trail continues beyond the boundary of Canyonlands and runs along the Colorado River. Since we've completed the Shafer Trail, we're at the bottom. I promised I'd show you where the Thelma and Louise Point is. So it's right along here, along the river on the map, and it's as you go out Potash Road. There are no signs for it, so it's hard to figure out exactly where it is, but it's the general area. Hard to see in the landscape, but it's right along the river there. Okay, now we are walking to the Gooseneck Overlook. This is a famous one. It's supposed to be one of the most photographed places, you know, as far as recreation sites go. It's where the river does these incredible turns and bends, like hairpin turns, like the ones we just came down off of way over there. We made it though. Woo! Okay, after all that, the hair-raising hairpin turns on the edge of the cliffs, this is an easy trail. By the way, this is what you look for, because these trails, you know, when you have like all rock like this, you have no idea where you're going. So nice people build those little rock monuments to keep you on your way. See, there's one. Cute. There's another one. Yay, we're on the right way. So just the trail itself getting out here is really cool. Look at the end of this trail. It's like layers of rocks, sheets of rocks. So cool. Orange, red, black. Really, really something else. Here it is. Gooseneck Overlook. It's where the river does a hairpin turn in a perfect, almost nearly perfect circle. Amazing. Gooseneck Overlook. Now here's an important clarification. Online, I saw some confusion because there's goosenecks, there's rivers all through Utah, bends in the land. So this is Gooseneck Overlook right outside Canyonlands. The only way to get there is by Shafer Trail from Canyonlands or Potash Road right out of Moab. I noticed that there is a Goosenecks Overlook, Goosenecks plural, Overlook in Capitol Reef National Park, and there's also a Goosenecks State Park. That's a Utah state park. If there are any other gooseneck or Gooseneck Overlook viewpoints, let me know in the comments. For all I know, there could be more. Okay, you can't see it from here, but this is the back of that Gooseneck Overlook, well, the gooseneck, and there is a trail out there, so you could actually hike out to the middle of that island. It's not an island, but that area of land where the river goes all the way around it. These are the potash evaporation pools. They're really interesting, very cool to look at, but they're private. It's industry. They are fenced. You can't go in there. They look appealing, but definitely private and inaccessible. The White Rim Road is the other really popular off-road drive in Canyonlands, and it's about 100 miles around the Island in the Sky Mesa, and it's basically a loop that starts or ends, depending on which way you're starting. We started west of the mesa, and it follows the Green River, and then it ends east of where it hooks up with the Shafer Trail. So how long does it take to drive that loop? We don't know because we didn't do the whole 100 miles. We drove on the west side and the east side for a few miles each to get an idea, but you can do the math. 100 miles going a maximum of 15 miles an hour or less. You might be able to do it in a day, a very, very long day, but you've got to get some sightseeing in there too. So something to consider. Here's the views heading down the beginning of the White Rim Road, and you can see that it's very close to the river. In some spots, it's very narrow. We went down this road a ways. There was like some old historic corrals, horse corrals, things like that. And we found, of course, we always find these epic spots for lunch. And then we'll continue on this journey down the White Rim Road. I mentioned we're into boating and we're always doing reconnaissance trips to check out boat launches and bodies of water. So imagine our surprise when we saw signs for Mineral Bottom Boat Ramp near the entrance of Canyonlands. It's a couple miles before the Island in the Sky Visitor Center. So we thought, what a way to launch our boat and see the park from the rivers. And side note on this, there's very little data or cell coverage to do any research. You know, when you see signs and all that, you basically don't know, you don't know anything unless you knew about it in advance and researched it. So off we went to do the real life research, such as boat ramp amenities and rules, trailerable roads, like how you access it, what part of the river, all those basics. So we figured out pretty quick This isn't a typical boat launch or access road. The good news is that we found another epic switchback road with views, and that was the beginning of the White Rim Road, which we found kind of by accident. So along with meeting a great bunch of kayakers at Mineral Bottom Boat Launch, we just had a great time. That was a really nice drive down there to check out that boat launch, even though it's not what we thought it was. Mineral Bottom Boat Launch. Kayakers, just spectacular scenery as they go through the river, and there's a couple of canyon areas like the Labyrinth Canyon and some other areas like that you're going to go past. Doesn't seem to be any rapids that I have seen or that I know about, so you're basically just floating down that river. The Green River, and right up there is Labyrinth Canyon. On the opposite side of the mesa, where the Colorado River is, on the east side, beyond the Shafer Trail, we went a few miles into the White Rim Road there, and here's some scenes from that. At this point, I'm going to invite you to come along for lunch with us. I love to combine both of my passions, adventure travel and plant-based eating. If you're only interested in the one, I'll say adios, but otherwise, I'll show you how easy it is to eat plant-based on the road. We've been doing it successfully for so long that if people are interested, I love to give them new ideas. We have picked a incredibly scenic place for lunch here. Back at the motel, I made what I call I'm not going to call it a tabbouleh salad, but it's quinoa, and I'm going to show you how I made it. I made last night, which I just showed you, and it is really good. The flavors have blended together. So this lunch is pretty good. Not bad for a motel prepared salad, and I would also say that the scenery is not that bad either. You're just looking at like the most spectacular scenery in the world, I think. Maybe, well, certainly top. We're on the Green River looking down. Thanks for coming along on our Shafer Trail Canyonlands adventure. I'll see you soon. Stay tuned for the next adventure. These are some old little build outs. Then we have our sweet potato steaks. So good.